James Kaufman, World News Report today. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to address the issue of all of the liberal whack jobs speaking out and cheering about Charlie Kirk's death. Well, I'm afraid freedom of speech is allowed, but that doesn't mean that your employer has to keep you employed. Most states are what we call right-to-work states. And let me just say that if you post something on your social media account and your employer doesn't like it and sees it, he has 100% right to fire you for any reason he would like, period. Thousands, if not tens of thousands of liberals have been fired in the last 72 hours, and I assume a lot more are about to be fired. Well, this nice attorneys can explain to you that you have the freedom of speech, but there are consequences that come along with that freedom of speech. In other words, F around and find out. Listen closely because he explains it all to you.
The amount of calls that we have received, I think it's not that many, but it's about 6 now, calls that were received from individuals who are specifically saying, and we'll make sure I get this right, I have been terminated, I have been put on suspension by my job for things that I have said on my private social media account. First of all, I want you to think about those things. Private, social media, they do not go hand in hand together. But there are a lot of comments that we're getting specifically about the unfortunate death of Charlie Kirk. Why do I say unfortunate? Because I don't care who you are as a human being, you should not root for another human being's life to be taken, whether you agree with their political views. I'm old enough to remember the whole phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. I think we have forgotten that as a society. And if we get to the point where we're simply, to the point that if somebody says something that we think they deserve to die, there's a bit of me that actually believes that Mr. Kirk, whether I agree or disagree with his views, the fact that he was willing to engage in a logical debate, and by the way, that is what we do as attorneys, that if we have different views with our opposing sides, it's basically an intellectual debate. You should not lose your life for engaging into intellectual debate with anybody. And there's a bit of me that believes that I don't know if he actually believes half of the shit that he was actually saying, because, some of it is just rage baiting to get encouragement. By that same definition, are we going to start saying that we have a problem with Leonardo DiCaprio for playing a racist in a movie even though he was acting? Anyway, what is ending up happening are people are forgetting about the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. They're saying, hey, Mr. Kent, I have freedom of speech. I should be allowed to say anything I want at work on my private social media account. Again, no such thing. Stop saying this is private. One, it's not private because you're posting it. Social, by definition, is social media. Come on. But what I encourage people when I tell them is your employer, especially in South Carolina. South Carolina is a right-to-work state. What does that mean? That means your employer can say, you know what, get the fuck out of here. We're not going to listen to this discourse. You cannot post this stuff on the page. Some individuals have come to us and basically, let's say they're a teacher. They're a teacher and they're saying that, you know what, my school district has suspended me because I said, Charlie Kirk, he deserved to die. Are you teaching our kids? Or you work for an elected official. You want to put political things on your post and your elected official says, nah, bruh, you don't work here. South Carolina is a right-to-work state. Number 2, when we talk about freedom of speech, you have the right to say whatever the hell you want, but people tend to forget you can say what you want. Our government is not going to arrest you for saying what you want. We're not going to kill you for saying what you want. However, your employer has the right to terminate you. They are two different things. People get confused on freedom of speech and freedom of consequences. There are consequences to our actions. So, when we get those calls and people ask us, can I file a lawsuit because my employer terminated me because of the stuff that I put on my private social media account? At least in South Carolina, my response is they can terminate you for anything they want to. As a matter of fact, a lot of times when employers contact me and say, how should I terminate an employee? I say, don't give them a damn reason. You work at sometimes as the sheriff say, you work at the will and the discretion of the sheriff. Don't give them a damn reason. There's a famous quote from a pretty, I don't know how to say it, a pretty prolific philosopher, old Dave Chappelle. You know, everybody wants to give an opinion, and he had something that was pretty great to say. He says, you could shut the fuck up. Take that.
And I hope they took that advice. Again, thousands more to be laid off. Freedom of speech doesn't mean that your employer has to put up with it, especially if it's not the U.S. government. Let me just say, F around and find out, like so many liberal leftists are. Who would cheer on someone's passing, especially someone with children and a wife and a family? These people need to look deep inside themselves and find out what is wrong with them that would make them act this way. Please share, please subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.